Today, we are going to dive into a dark, twisted psychological technique called the echo chamber. A true story based on a couple that lived together. For years, Olivia had been convinced that her memory was failing her. Her husband, Daniel, was always patient, always understanding. "You left the stove on again, love. It's okay. Just try to focus more," he would say with a reassuring smile. Or, "You said you'd pick up the dry cleaning today. Don't you remember? It's okay. I'll get it." At first, she dismissed it as stress, work overload, but the gaps in her recollection widened. She found herself doubting her own thoughts, her own instincts. The nagging suspicion that something was wrong kept her up at night. One day, while reorganizing the bookshelf, she found a notebook tucked behind the rows of unread novels. It was filled with notes, her own handwriting, detailing incidents where Daniel had insisted things happened that she swore never did. It was proof. When she confronted him, his response was chilling. "I was only trying to help," he whispered. "You've been so forgetful. You need me to keep you grounded." His voice was gentle, almost soothing, but Olivia finally understood. This wasn't love. It was control, and she wasn't going to let him win anymore. Olivia didn't confront Daniel right away. That was the mistake most victims made, wasn't it? They tipped their hand too soon. No, she had to be smart. He had spent years crafting his illusion, layering lies upon lies until she doubted her own mind. She had to be careful. So, she played along. At breakfast, when he smiled at her across the table and said, "You forgot to set the alarm last night," she forced a sheepish laugh. "Did I? I swear I remember doing it." His eyes lingered on her, studying her reaction. He was testing her, just as she was testing him. "That's okay, love," he said, squeezing her hand. "You've been under a lot of stress." A perfectly placed seed of doubt. But Olivia wasn't the same woman she had been yesterday. She started taking notes, secretly, meticulously. She recorded their conversations on her phone, reviewing them late at night while he slept beside her. The patterns became obvious, the subtle shifts in his tone when he contradicted her memory, the way he always reassured her after making her feel small. It was a performance, and she had been his unwitting audience. The first step was reclaiming control. Olivia started responding differently. "That's not what I said," she corrected him one evening when he insisted she had agreed to cancel dinner plans. Daniel paused mid-sip of his wine. "Of course it is, love. We talked about it this morning." She smiled. "No, we didn't. I recorded our conversation. Want to listen?" The color drained from his face, just for a second. It was quick, so quick that if she hadn't been watching closely, she might have missed it. Then he laughed. "Wow, you really are paranoid these days." There it was. The deflection. The subtle insult wrapped in concern. But Olivia just tilted her head, studying him the way he had studied her all these years. He was good, but she was getting better. Over the next few weeks, Olivia built her exit strategy. She withdrew small amounts of cash, careful not to trigger suspicion. She found a lawyer, one who specialized in emotional abuse cases, and she made sure she had proof. One night, when she knew he'd be working late, she copied his emails, evidence of his financial control over her. The gas bill in her name, but never paid. The subscription services she never signed up for. The debts he had accumulated under her identity. It wasn't just manipulation. It was entrapment. She wasn't just leaving. She was taking him down. When Olivia finally confronted Daniel, she wasn't scared. She wasn't uncertain. "I know what you've been doing," she said, standing by the front door with her suitcase packed. "I have proof. I've spoken to a lawyer." Daniel's expression didn't change. Not at first. Then, slowly, a smirk curled at the edges of his lips. "You really think anyone will believe you?" he said smoothly. "You've been forgetful for years. Maybe you just don't remember agreeing to all of it." Her stomach clenched, but she didn't let him see it. Instead, she pulled out her phone and pressed play. His own voice filled the room. His words, his lies, his manipulation, caught in crystal clarity. The smirk disappeared. For the first time in years, she saw it. A flicker of uncertainty in his eyes. And that's when she knew. She had won. Olivia didn't just leave. She rebuilt. Daniel tried to fight back, of course. He played the victim, spun his own narrative. But she had already unraveled the strings he had wrapped around her life. The world saw him for what he was, and when she finally walked away, she didn't look back. For the first time in years, the echoes in her mind were gone. If you would like to know what happens to Daniel next, please subscribe, like and share, and comment next chapter.